Hi, my beautiful queens and kings. It is your one and only Queen Desh here. So, you guys are in for another treat. I have a special guest here. This is none other than Queen Lorie Woodruff. I actually know Laurie. We were in the same business group together. She is also an entrepreneur. But let me, of course, do you the honors of letting you know a little bit about her, but I will at least let her say hello first.
Hey, 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 good evening. How is everybody doing?
All right.
Thank you, Dee, for allowing me to pop on. Today, I'm
Absolutely.
excited to talk with your guest and with you as well.
Thank you. We are happy to have you here. So, let me tell you just a little bit about her. So, in the past several years, this multi talented success coach, real estate extraordinaire, author, and host of Laurie TV has garnered some major hits, proving she is far from a one hit wonder. This entrepreneurial rock star has appeared on TV One with Roland Martin and several radio shows, been a featured cover girl in Her Life magazine, won numerous awards for top sales and performance in real estate sales and network marketing. She's presented countless seminars on personal growth, real estate, Forex business, credit repair, and business opportunities. Her primary assignment in life is to help change the lives of individuals and offer them advice on ways to earn extra streams of income. Laurie is not just a party of one when it comes to embracing success on all levels. She extends an invitation to succeed to everyone and will gladly assist you on the journey. Welcome, welcome, Queen
Thank
Laurie.
you. Thank you. She
All
sounds
right, well,
amazing. She sounds
we
like a
got
good
a snap,
friend.
snap.
You sound like a pretty good friend there.
Snap, snap to that.
I
Well,
like that.
this, my tribe, they know we are all about authenticity on this podcast. So we
Mhm.
just kind of want to know about you. We have everyday women on here. Some women are entrepreneurs, some are not. But at the end of the day, we are all queens, regardless of what our titles are. And all of us have the same type of struggles. Life happens to all of us, and we know that it's not a perfect straight line. Success is not a straight line. So, we just kind of want to know. We're going to start off just telling us a little bit about where your journey kind of started. You have a lot of different things that you have had your hand in. Kind of,
Yeah.
what would you say? Where did you sort of start with going on this journey where it's led you to where you're at right now?
As you were going over the bio, I for some reason went right back to college. I went to college and I went back to that time period where the decision for where I was going to go in life was pretty much made for me. Mom and dad were pretty much saying after high school, it's college. Like that was the natural step for you to take for the next step. And I'm like, well, I guess I have to do it because they said so. And I remember high school, all girls school, which it took me a minute to get used to that. But I got through that and I got accustomed just to deal with relationships, get used to relationships. And that's not a time where you really start figuring out who you really are yet. Not at 16, not at 17, definitely not when you go to college. But I remember, so when you were going through that, Dish, I remember college for some reason. And I remember sitting my first semester. I never told my mom that I didn't finish my second semester, but I told her I went 2 semesters at Bowie State, but I only really went to one. I knew then that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew then I didn't want to keep raising my hand, and I just wanted something different and I didn't want a job. So that's what really triggered me was I knew what I wanted then. I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew I wanted to help people and continue with education. So thank you for that flashback because that was really everything that kind of brought things back to where things started. So I think with that, no matter who you are, you're programmed to do one thing, go to school, go to college, and get that government job. That's the programming. But I think what happens after that, you have to really figure out the direction of where God's taking you and where you're supposed to be. So luckily, after years and years of working with great mentors, meeting great people like you in different spaces, then you start to develop who is Laurie? Who am I as a woman supposed to be and what is my purpose? And
Mm,
sometimes people don't find their purpose and their gift until later in life.
sure.
Just because you're 18 or 21 or 30, those aren't pivotal ages where you know what you're supposed to be doing, believe it or not. So I
Mhm,
didn't find my purpose really until I got to, I would say about 38 years old.
mm.
About 38 years old, did I really figure out what I'm supposed to be doing? And that's what I'm walking in now. And that's what helps me help more people because it's not, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't
Okay.
feel like a job anymore.
Sure. And I love that, you know, you sort of found your purpose later. I think sometimes women feel like, oh, well, I'm 40 now, I'm 50 now, and oh my God, I'm so old. Even at 38, there are some women that feel they're
Yeah.
so old at 38. And I
Hmm.
definitely believe that you're never, ever too old. You're never too late to dream, to start over. For the woman that feels that she might be old, what is your
Hmm.
advice to her?
It's never because, and that's one exercise now in our group, in our investment group. That's one exercise that I want that I gave actually out about 2 weeks ago. And I gave that exercise out, and some of the ladies actually called me crying, and they're 50 years old. They're 50 years old. And they're just like, I've been working a job. I'm thinking I know what I want, but it didn't take until I did this exercise. And this was an exercise actually I got from Bob Yates with Circle of Champions. And that was the discovering moment. I cried when I finished that because I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing in life? And when I finished answering those 4 questions, what are you supposed to be doing in life? What do other people say that you do great? Those questions, not too many people ask you those detailed questions. And when you
Hmm.
really dig deep, you're typically not doing what your gift is. You're doing one job to make the bills get paid and to take care of the everyday things. But if you really sat down and looked at your gift, um, most times it's not your job. It's
Hmm.
never that. I'm talking to some women, they're in real estate, they're working for the government, they're in healthcare, but their gift is totally different. So it doesn't matter what age you are. Once you discover it, I think that clarity will punch you in the gut in a good way. And it will actually give you some purpose now every day that you wake up. So yeah, don't worry if it's you're 20 years old, haven't found it, 30 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, just find it. Just find it. And I can actually give you that gift if you want it, so that if you wanted to share that with some of your guests, so that they can have that purpose finder.
Sure, sure. No, I
Mhm.
think that's incredible, and I think I know which exercise you're referring to. It's a
Yeah,
powerful one. It
it
definitely
is.
is, and
It is. So yeah,
I can
anytime.
definitely say it gave me some clarity as well.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different resources that a woman can tap into, aside from the Circle of Champions that you just mentioned. What other resources have kind of helped you on this journey? Are you reading any type of books? What's kind of helping you kind of grow and get to that next phase in your life?
Mentors, just I think, and actually, I look back, Bob Yates actually was the person that got me connected to the person that actually changed a lot. So I know had to been around the 2010, around that time period, going through a sad part of life. I had no idea what and why I was sad. I had left a great size home, was making pretty good money in the real estate market, and I had to leave a relationship that was just toxic for me. And with that, I moved into an a 10 by 11 room. All right. I had to move to a room, and it was at a family member's house in the basement with my dog, nothing but boxes in a twin size bed. And that was the reality. I think God sits you down a lot of times and you're thinking, you can have all the money, but if you're not praising me, if you're not grateful for what you have, then I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to take some of these things back from you, strip you down, and then let you realize what really matters. And so during that time period, when I was looking to get back up on my feet, Bob Yates was very instrumental with the environment. And I went to a women's conference, and a young lady was there selling her books. And I never bought books before, honestly. I never bought books before. And I bought the book, Daily Dose of Determination. And that was the beginning. That book. And I think Melanie Bonita is her name. She's the author of that book. And she knows it now, but there are certain people in life that God's going to sprinkle in your space, and they're just going to say, here, I need you to be here to help her get out of this funky spot. Here, Desh is going to come here and help this individual. So you never know where your assignment is going to be. So I guess her assignment was to help me at that women's conference to begin to be around women and also just organizations of people who are doing better than me spiritually, financially, and definitely professionally to get me into that space. So I think it was very important to be around um, different groups of people. And as you are in that environment, you start attracting more people like that. So I think that's where it started, was in 2010, going to those events and staying at those conferences. I remember some people were like, what, you going to another one? Like, yes,
I know.
I need to go here. Like, it's in Florida, it's a big deal. I'm have to be there.
Right.
And so you know that when you want to do better, you've been in plenty of his Circle of Champion events. You know
Absolutely.
that when you were going to go there, you were going to level up and get to a whole new level. So it's been a lot of mentors like him and organizations and networking events that you just have to be around if that's who you're trying to level up to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so important and that's key. But the crazy enough as it may sound, there are some women that are not investing in themselves, and it's such a pivotal thing to do. I mean, you have to do that. To the woman who is maybe on the sidelines and she's kind of on the fence about going to a personal growth or a self-help type, workshop. It may not be something she's ever done before and she's never been exposed to that. So on that on that token, I understand her fear because it's the fear of
Yes.
the unknown. But
Mhm.
what would you say to her if she's kind of really scared and on the fence about kind of going to that next level? What would you say to her?
What would it hurt? Right? What would it hurt? And I think it's more so not just feeling like, well, you have to go to this event. It's coming up in 2 weeks. Like, something has to happen in her life where she feels led there. That's all, because you can't force somebody to go somewhere where they're not ready to go there yet. I think
Yes.
in my situation, I was led there because God had placed me in a position, found out about an event, and look how the dots connected. So I think at some point she's going to be led there, and her choice is to say yes or no. And I think just be aware that when you get to these kind of events, be open and say yes to yourself, that everything can happen if you're looking for. But I think you have to be open, first of all, so that
Mhm.
those kind of opportunities can fall into your lap, and then you can receive just getting in the car and getting there.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. You definitely have to be open,
Mhm.
Queens. You have to be open. I know it may have been the most recent empowerment slash prayer message that I did on the podcast, but I know I did mention, or should I say, it came through to me to mention about us being open because sometimes we're blocking our blessings and not getting what we need because we're so closed minded and so closed
Yeah.
off. But
Right.
it's so important, ladies, for you all to be open. You're wanting a different life, you're wanting something different, but you're not willing to do anything different, and it just doesn't work like that. I
Yeah.
understand there's fear. We're very conditioned and we're programmed to kind of sort of do the rote routine and do what everyone else does. So I understand that it can definitely be very fearful for a woman to come into the unknown and try to go to that next level. But like Laurie said, you have to be really open. You talked about being in, a very small space where God kind of humbled you.
Yes.
Um, what what kind of came from that? What did you really get in that time frame? What was the message? What was the lesson for you that you got in that to kind of help you move forward?
I was in a relationship, as I said, that was toxic. And I thought that that relationship was going to lead to marriage. I was living with the guy at the time. And I was living with him thinking, you know what? We're playing house. What's going to happen next? We're definitely going to go to the ring. And I didn't get that. And so everything just kind of fizzled down and fizzled away when it didn't happen. So once I moved out, it was a moment to get clear on what I needed and not feel that a man had to validate my space. And I think as you know, you get out of high school and college, you're the pretty girl, and you've got to stay in a relationship. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, that's not what you're supposed to do. A lot of times you've got to be by yourself, and it's okay to be by yourself to figure out who you are,
Hmm.
what you like, and what you would accept in life. And that was that time that I know that I had to sit down and figure out what's going on. And that's when I figured out I had depression. That's when I was going through depression. And I had no clue how to treat that. Because I'm just thinking, well, I'm sad. Give me a pill so I can just not be sad anymore. And so, what it is depression is not so much the word that I want to connect with, it's what is causing that. What is causing that for a woman or a man, because men go through depression too,
Absolutely.
that what was it that caused that? And it was not understanding that you are enough, not understanding that you are enough in your profession and just being you. And what you have to do is sit down and really just not worry about, well, are they going to accept me? No, 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 no. You have to be able to accept yourself as is. And during that time period, even though I was going through depression, the big D word, what I
Hmm.
had to do was I had to start filling myself up like a gas tank. I had to start filling myself up with positive words. And that's how I started, Desh, writing those positive words on Facebook. So every day, Monday through Friday, I would take an excerpt from Melanie Bonita's book and I would copy it and write it on Facebook. This was back in 2010.
Hmm.
So I'm writing this out and I'm seeing people are liking it. And at that time, it was kind of like a journal for me. It was a
Hmm.
journal for me to just write something positive and I felt better. Write something positive on Tuesday, I feel better. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, do the same thing. And as I started doing that, I'm like, wow, these words are powerful. These
Hmm.
words are very powerful. And I started noticing I'm not only effective, but the other people out on Facebook are loving it. They're liking it. They're sharing it. So I just said, you know what, Deesh, if it's working for me, and I know I'm not the only one going through this, then it's got to be working for other people. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that was a funnel so that I was just feeding people, even though they don't say anything. Because, a lot of people on your Facebook page, they say nothing. They don't like it.
Right.
They don't say anything. They just browse through and they're just like, yeah, that looks good. And then maybe years later, they'll tell you, you know what, your words really got me out of a funky
Hmm.
situation. You'll never know it. But yeah, I'm not doing it for the claps. I'm just doing it
Sure.
because it worked for me. And I know that it can definitely work for someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
Those words are
Absolutely.
definitely powerful. And meditation, I was doing meditation during that time too, so that I can clear my mind because there was so much going on up here that I needed validation from other things that I had to clear that out and really just sit still with myself. So, reading, being in network events where positive people were speaking, the words that I needed to hear, and certainly doing the meditation maybe about twice a week till I felt better.
Mm.
I felt
Okay.
better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
wow.
my recipe.
Well, there's so many women that I'm sure can relate to that, even if
Hmm.
they, are maybe afraid to speak up about that. But there's so many women that are hurting,
Yes.
and they're suffering. Some of them are going through depression. But every one of us is human. We are
Yes.
human, and every life happens to everyone. And I always
Hmm.
mention that. I mention that to my queens, like, I am just like you. I bleed red. I hurt. I cry. I
Hmm.
get disappointed. Like, don't put me on a pedestal like that, because
Right.
I'm human just like you, and so are
Right.
you. And
Hmm.
listening to her, lady, she just, told you about her experience, and she's not immune to life either.
No.
That was a pivotal space in her life that kind of helped her figure out what she needed to do. And I definitely believe, being clear and having clarity is something important. It's something that I've mentioned in my book. I know Laurie has also published a couple of books as well.
Got
Um,
them back here. Yes.
sure, sure. Go ahead and
This is the book that got me out. And this was during that time period. I started it in 2010, Unleash
what's
Your
the name of the book?
Irresistibility. Unleash Your Irresistibility, Secrets to Making Every Man Want You. This was the book I had to write. God kept telling me to write. And as many times as I wanted to dance all around the chapters around depression, the publisher was like, that's the one that's going to be the key that you need to write. And I'm like, but I'm crying. He's like, keep crying, but you got to finish that book. And so when this book came out, it was an easy read, but it also let men and women know there is a way that you can glow from the inside out. You don't
Mhm.
need to get the validation from others. You don't need to get that job to show how worthy you are. But this is a quick read so that somebody can get their bounce back and they can start feeling better so they can learn how to be irresistible to
Mhm.
anyone that they come in contact with, work wise, professional wise, personal wise. So it's not just because it says secrets to making every man want you. You're thinking, why do I want every man to want me?
All right, all
But
right.
you want everybody to want you when it comes to a job. You want to get that job, right? So, what's the secret to get that job? How to be attracting that kind of position. So, it's about how to attract the right people to you.
Kind of
Yeah.
sounds like the law of attraction.
Yes, ma'am. That was around the time I was reading The Secret, Dish. All around that time, it was just building blocks. So I think when it's your time to get the information, God is going to put the right people in your place. You don't even have to start searching for them. When you're ready and you're open, he will start sending the right people to you. He will
Amen
start
to
sending the
that.
right people to you.
Amen to that. I definitely
You
agree
just got
with
to be
that.
aware. You just got to be aware. And that second book, this was the book on the collaboration with 17 women. And this was done in 2019, The Extraordinary Makeover, Hidden Expressions of the Everyday Woman. This was a collaboration with multiple women's stories. So just imagine there's lots of stories that we all have. Someone's going to relate to one of these stories
Absolutely.
naturally, all around the world. When this book goes around, it will definitely be relatable for someone because someone can say, yep, that sounds like my story. So now you can see, you know what, it's not just me.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
these, like you said, it's not, we all bleed red. And so these are stories of, all right, well, whatever she did, I want to be able to do as well. So I don't stay in that situation.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And I believe every woman has a story. You know, um, every woman has a story that could probably help the next queen.
Yes,
So she just,
for sure.
has to get to that space where she does her own healing. And
Hmm.
sort of in that process, I believe she will get what she needs to move forward. And kind of how you said, once she's open, she will
Hmm.
attract the right things to her, the
Exactly.
right people,
Yep.
to kind of
Yes,
get
ma'am.
her to that next level or where it is that she needs to be.
Yes, ma'am.
You talk about the right people and things coming to you. A
Hmm.
lot of people are comfortable. Let's be honest. A lot of us are
Yeah.
comfortable. Um, but what would you tell, a woman who she wants something different, and, if she were to bring it up to a friend of hers, say a best friend or someone close to her, and, those people aren't really supportive of her, what is your advice on, how she should go about that if she's kind of looking for change in her life? How does she handle that?
I would say ask more questions. And asking questions will take you down a narrow path that the answer will pretty much reveal itself more times than none. So, for example, when you're looking to get, let's say, a certain amount of money, or you're looking for a job offer, you're looking for something in life, you want to start asking yourself a series of questions around what and when, not how, because God will replace that how on his own. He can do that part. And that's the part that we feel we have to take his pen out of his hand and do that. We don't need to focus on how is it going to get done, because that's how the anxiety levels raise. That's how we get depressed, because we're focusing on, well, I need to fix it all myself. Well, no. So if you're looking for money, let's say you're looking for a higher paying job and you're looking to find out, what do I need to do to get there? You want to start asking yourself a series of questions by yourself. Don't feel crazy, but what skills do I have? Where should I be looking? What kind of skills may they be looking for? What kind of compensation do I really want? I think if you ask yourself a series of questions, and no matter what you're looking to do, you will find your answer, typically in minutes. But sometimes what will reveal itself is the universe is saying, oh, you're looking for more money. Oh, you're looking for a husband, wife. Oh, you're looking to write that book. Now those will be attracted to you. Now those resources will now be attracted, but you got to, I would say, ask questions, ask, as many as you can to yourself. Ask, I don't even know how I put together this book because the very first one I had help. I had a publisher, right? And I said, well, let me start asking some questions. Who are the key players of putting a book together? Who will do the printing? Who will do the front cover? And then when things start to, you do that, then you start to develop your own answers on your own. So yeah, ask as many as you need to.
That's very good. I like that.
Works.
Asking questions.
Yes.
I remember when I actually was out in Texas with Dr. Joe Vitale, he kind of brought that up. Well, actually not him, but someone else who we were working with kind of mentioned that we just need to be curious. We need to be curious and, ask questions, and those types of things will come. So it's interesting to hear you say that again, that yes, ask yourself questions. And that's actually part of self-reflection, ladies. You've heard me talk about that on the podcast, doing the inner work, doing the self-reflection to heal yourself. All of it is inside out, ladies. And I've said this, it is inside out. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you're looking for change, you want something different, first, you're going to have to even be honest with yourself about, what's going on in your life. I think sometimes women, because of how we're conditioned, unfortunately, I think some women are even afraid to ask themselves the question. They are. And so it's like, oh, I'm unhappy, but I don't want to say I'm unhappy, and so she suffers silently, unfortunately. But you don't have to do that, ladies. The only way your life is going to change is if you're honest with yourself and you really start to get clear on what you want. And like she said, ask yourself some questions and be honest about that. Like if you're by yourself, I say, as they say, be still. And I just say, when you are with yourself and you are quiet, notice what naturally comes up for you in that still space when you're quiet. So even if you're in that still space and you start to ask yourself some questions, like Laurie said, I guarantee you some things are going to come to you that may surprise you. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it will. But the only thing you just don't want to ask, don't hurt yourself. Don't think that you have to do this. Do not focus on how it's going to get done, because God's going to deliver it in such a package that you will have no idea, how did they get to me like this? This is actually better than I expected. So just focus on what, and that should make us all feel better, that we don't have to worry about the how. How am I going to get my next car? Oh, well, all I need to focus on is, what does it look like? What does it look like? What year is the car? When do I want the car? And then the universe is saying, got it. She wants that Model 3 Tesla. Got it. Well, she says she wants white, but I'm actually going to give her red. So you never know how it's going to be delivered. So ladies, don't focus on the how. Just ask yourself a series of questions. I have a vision board, and whenever I'm coaching clients, this is one of the things I share with them, whether they're buying a home, whether they are starting an investment, anything, because the space that we're in right now, this has been years of work. This has been years of work and just repetitive coaching and clients and hey, there's a seminar coming up. That's been years of that. But I may work with a first time home buyer, and I said, in order for this process to really go smoothly, we're going to need to do some work up here, mental work.
Mm.
And visual work is everybody in that household that is going through this process, including you, Miss First Time Home Buyer or Mr. First Time Home Buyer. I want to see you do this homework assignment. And I could tell, Deesh, the ones that do the vision board, they're cutting out what they want. They can see the picture of their house and all the dreams that they want to have happen. I could tell the ones that do it, and I can tell the ones that don't,
Mm.
because there's typically static in the deal. There's typically some resistance, and I can
Okay.
feel it.
Mm.
We're out looking at houses longer than need be. But for the ones that are organized spiritually and have done the work, have done the vision board, it's a breeze,
Mm.
because they can see what they want, and they're just focused on it's coming. I'm going to track that house, and I'm going to track that house, and whatever else they're focused on, they're attracting it, so it's coming to us.
Mm.
So it's all of this is about attracting. All of it is
Okay.
about how to attract the right people to you, and it will automatically deflect all the people that don't need to be here as well. You know how to do that work. As soon as you start leveling up and moving to different levels, you understand that everybody can't go with you in life. You've experienced that. Some people have to go, they go silently, and you just don't even say bye. There's no need to say, hey, this isn't working anymore. They just go away.
Mhm.
And that's okay. That's part of the process. They can't go where you're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a powerful thing. Vision boards and
Mm-hmm.
visualization. I definitely believe in that. I've had several because I have
Mm-hmm.
so
I know
many. I
you
stopped
do.
doing them. I
Yeah,
sort
you
of
do.
did one last one, and I let that be the last one to kind of encompass everything.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe in that. However, I do know there are some people that are a little bit resistant to vision boards. I believe in them. I know you believe in them. But again, for a woman listening that is looking for something different, she may be unhappy, and if she's willing to be open, how should she go about doing a vision board?
I think it's not so much just throwing it in their face as far as you have to do this. If you lead people down a discovery lane on why it's important, remember, this person could be starting out from day one. And their day one, it's going to take some time to peel the layers back of doubt, fear, not understanding how this process really works about attraction. So it's going to take months, maybe years, to get that person to really understand it. So I think because I don't have that much time with someone who's buying a house, I don't have that kind of time to spend years. When we are together, I think understanding the meaning of why we do it is leading them down to comfort zone. So they understand it's not just someone just saying, put this together. It's, oh, okay, you're putting it together so we can visualize what we're supposed to be doing in life. And then they start understanding and getting excited about it. So I think it's just a matter of just speaking and communicating to them to understand why it's being done and the importance of it. And then they typically will do it. But I haven't had anybody having had any resistance to it, because if that's, yeah, I mean, I think if you're in that space and you really want something and I'm showing you how to get it, then they're typically have been open for the time
Okay. Okay.
that I've been with them.
Okay. And that's great. That's great.
Mhm.
But for a woman who wants to, she kind of wants to, but she's kind of on the fence because, again, we have to think everyone's in a different space. This may
Mhm.
be completely new to her. She's just kind of nudging slowly along into this idea of self-discovery or personal transformation
Mhm.
and, personal growth. She's kind of new and just kind of nudging, taking baby steps. What would you say she should do? Because I know we can do a vision board. Aside from that, maybe as well, is there something else that you recommend for her as maybe like a first step for someone kind of coming baby step, they're like tiptoeing into this new phase of their life with personal growth and personal transformation?
Depending on which aspect of, let's say, my business it could be in, let's just say she's a buyer, she's purchasing a home and she's interested. What she may need to see is how I operate maybe on social media. She might, spend some time with seeing and trusting that information, because I think that that's a level of trust that someone needs to just say, oh, okay, I understand now why it's being done. Again, that part is still about asking questions. What are you looking for? When do you want to move into this next phase of life? When those questions are asked, then a solution is given, and it's up to that individual if they're ready or not. Sometimes they need to sit back and just watch you. They need to see you on YouTube. They need to see you on social media. They need to trust you so they can see the importance of why that's being done. But typically on a first meeting, if someone gives you that kind of resistance, they're not ready yet. And that's okay. They need to spend more time with you and get more connection to you or people like you so that they can feel comfortable of just saying, you know what, I'm ready. I've got my list of what I want in a home. I got my list of things I want to invest in. Whatever the situation is, when they're ready, they will appear. But I would just say get them close enough to your world so they can start trusting you.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
And some people may not want to connect with you and do business with you for years, for
Hmm.
years.
Hmm.
When they're ready, now you're the first person that they'll think about because they've been in your space. They have trusted you. They see what you're doing and they want to be a part of that.
Hmm. Okay. All right. That sounds really good, especially for women in real estate, business women.
Mhm.
And do you think that is the same process for, women that may just be trying to climb the corporate ladder?
Yes. Yeah. Because even like in the investing group that we're in, there have been times that I've talked to someone and maybe 6 months later, then they're ready. But what they had to do was they had to be a part and see what I'm doing online to trust that that is where they want to be and know that I can help their situation. So everybody has a different clock. And some people are ready when they come to you, they're ready to work with you. But some people need that extra time just to see, kind of sit back and just not ready yet. Okay, well, no, I don't like that. And then they may come back to you. Maybe it might be years later. So
Hmm.
you can't focus on the timeline. You just got to do your best. You know your purpose. If you know that you're supposed to be here to empower other women, their names will come later, but your focus is on being a blessing to as many women and men as possible every single day. I don't take names. I just do what God tells me to do. Go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for the woman that, because you've done quite a lot again, all the wars and this, life that you have created for yourself. And,
Mhm.
as we've heard that you, of course, have had your moments, you've had your downtime, and then you had to get back up and kind of start
Mhm.
over again and move forward. For a woman who is in that space now, she may consider this her rock bottom, that she's hit rock
Mhm.
bottom. What would you say to her, to kind of help her? If she may be depressed, she may not be, but let's just say she feels like this is her downtime, a place where she may have hit rock bottom and she's just not really doing well. What would you say to kind
Mhm.
of give her hope?
And that's happening a lot right now. That's happening a lot. So I think that the check-in process is paramount because we have no idea, because we're so much in front of computer screens right now and we're not in front of our friends seeing what's really going on. And unfortunately, we're finding out children are committing suicide and men and women are at record levels of going through psychiatrists right now. So times like this that we're in, this seclusion is not good for anyone. Just being away is not good at all. So I say still, there are some things that you as a person has to do naturally to get yourself going, because we can't rely on outside sources to make us feel better. We've got to do the work ourselves. So in the morning, I have a ritual that I do, and it's about, no matter if it's raining outside, doesn't matter what's going on outside, because that can typically make you depressed just looking outside the door. But if you are, what you want to start doing is get yourself into a position where you've got a good book by your side. You've got affirmations, you've got something that's giving you some kind of positive words every single morning. Keep that by your bedside. And also keep a notebook by your side. Those are the two notebooks that I keep. I don't care if I'm traveling or if I'm going to visit parents, it's by my bedside. And every morning I wake up, I'm reading an excerpt. I'm still reading Melanie's book. I just read it over and over and over again, 1 page a day. And it's a short book. So I read 1 page a day, and then I write also, what are 5 intentions I plan to do today? In that notebook, Monday, whatever the date is, whatever date you wake up, you write, what are 5 intentions that you plan to do that day? And then right underneath it, and be crystal clear with it. And one of the things I write, Desh, every day is be happy and loving. That way I'm telling myself already, I choose to be happy. I choose to be loving. I choose. So everything you do, you're choosing. And if you're going to write on here, I plan to close that big deal today. I'm going to write 10 pages of my book today. I'm going to deposit $50,000 today. Whatever it is that you see, you visualize, write it down. And then I write 10 gratitude moments. I'm so happy and grateful now. I do 10 of those. I'm so happy and grateful now for God's favor. I'm so happy and grateful now for Winnie, my dog. I'm so happy and grateful now for my business. All of those things will give you a natural boost before you even get out of bed. So for someone who is looking and trying to figure out, how do I figure out? Remember, depression has to start with you fixing the inner works, like Desh said. You've got to be able to fix you on the inside and not worry about what they outside are talking about, what they influence you to do. That's been my secret to keep me going every single day. So that depression could creep in, sure. But because I've already given myself a natural boost every morning of, all right, I got some direction of what I plan to do. I've read something positive, got it, check. And then I'm thanking God basically for just what I have. And those were the things that I was lacking when I was going through depression. I wasn't being thankful. I wasn't being grateful. I was just expecting, hey, I got this money just because Laurie did it. And that's not the proper order. So now things are different because I've gone through that depression. Now I know what it takes so I don't get back into that. So I would say those 3 things right there, always have something positive to read, have some direction of what you plan to do today, and then 10 gratitude moments.
I love that.
That's the secret.
Love that, ladies.
That's the secret.
Oh, that's powerful. Very, very powerful. Having something by your bed, like a notebook, and you say positive, reading something positive every day.
Yes.
And I'm so happy and grateful. Now that?
Now. Yeah, but always put in the present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now. Now, whatever you have, the utilities are on. People could think, oh man, everything's looking all popping over there. Well, you know what? My cell phone was just cut off this morning. No one ever knew it. I'm so happy and grateful now I could pay my bill. So happy and grateful now I've got money in my bank account. Like, we take so many things for granted.
Yes.
That when we're looking to get the big things in life, God's like, you weren't even grateful for the utilities being on. You weren't grateful for gas in your car. But you want that big job. You want that husband. You want that big house. So we just got to bring it all back, and you will definitely humble yourself and give yourself that natural peace. And that's all we want, is really just peace within ourselves so that we can be badasses out there to the world.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So all these different things that you have going on, and these, good, great nuggets that you have given the ladies, what's next for Queen Laurie?
That's a good question. I have been told that what I need to be doing is focusing on helping people make money. Because during this time right now that we're in, people need to replenish a lot of money that has been taken away from them. and really just start utilizing online mechanisms to be able to do that. So that's my focus right now, is really just showing people how to multiply money, invest their money in the Forex market, and how to really just use that computer without having to have people attached to it, and just really utilize that software the best way possible. And that's been the assignment that I've been given right now,
All right.
helping
Wow.
people
Hey,
really
a
make
lot
their
of
money.
that's phenomenal. I mean, a lot of people, especially with what's going on in the world, I imagine
Mhm.
they could certainly use a boost in their finances. So,
Yes, retirement as well, because even with people purchasing homes right now, um, I'm going to have to do some more segments on that. But people are pulling money out, Deesh, from their retirement accounts.
mm,
It's for your retirement. Okay. So
yeah,
if you're pulling out at 30, 40, or 50 years old, if you're pulling out a good chunk of money because of this housing frenzy that's going on right now, what are you going to do when it's time for you to retire?
yeah.
That's the part that scares me, because you just took out 40 or 50 grand or more, and you can't bring that time back to bring that money back in your retirement. So this is the reason why we're showing everyday people how to replenish that money back into their retirement accounts.
Mm, all
So
right.
that's it. That's
That
it. No
sounds
more
like
books.
good.
No other jobs. I'm done with the books for now. If God tells me to strike up a movie, then that's the next project that we're going to work on, is getting that book to a movie.
Okay,
That's what I'm in school. That's what I'm in school for right
that's
now.
exciting.
So, yeah, so that's working, a
Okay,
working project right now.
all right. Well, you have heard it from Queen Laurie. She's given you all some amazing information. She's given you some nuggets for anyone that may be going through depression, or just may not be in a good space in their lives. She gave you a couple of great tips that you could utilize, especially for a morning routine. She's human just like you, Queens. She is
Yeah,
human just like you. She's had her moments, and she got back up, and she has moved forward in her life. That's really all that we can do. You guys always hear me talk about, it's not about perfection, it's just about progression. We should always be
yes,
growing and evolving, because life is going to happen to all of us, no matter what your titles are and how many zeros that you have in the bank. You
very
are not
true.
immune to life.
Not exempt.
um,
You're not exempt.
Not at all. So you're definitely not expected in any way to be perfect, but we just want to encourage each other and inspire each other with our stories, because we're no different than the next woman at all.
That's right.
So let them know how they can connect with you.
Sure, sure. To further get more information on either coaching or the investing that we talked about, or even real estate, you can reach me on LorieWoodruff.com. Lorie, and that's Lorie Woodruff.com. And that'll be all the information necessary to connect with me later.
Okay, all right. And all that information as far as Instagram and Facebook?
All of it's on there. Yes, all of it is definitely on there as well, and how to connect on my YouTube page as well. So all of that's in on there. I hope to talk to many of you later, and definitely, Desh, I give it back to you, because you're doing a lot with women, and not too many people speak on it, but a lot of people are suffering. And these kinds of podcasts and communications that you do, the little bit that you do, you never know that you might be saving someone's life.
Mhm.
And that's the power of what you have, as far as what you've learned over the years. The power in your words can actually save a woman's life. So I give it back to you, as far as what you do on a daily basis with your book projects, with your podcast, your YouTube page. You're reaching someone, they'll probably never even meet you,
Mhm.
and but your life will be forever here because of what you've said, or maybe somebody that you brought on that actually saved their life. So, mwah, good job. Good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm here for. My intention with this podcast, as they know, is just to be a positive, positive love and light. We need that. There's so much
Mhm.
negative in this world, and I just want to do my job in trying to be a little light in some of that darkness, because
Correct.
we all need each other. Women need each other. We absolutely
Yes.
need each other. There's no competition. There's more than enough to go around.
Definitely.
And so I am definitely here just as sort of a conduit and just as a messenger. That's
That's
really
right.
it. So,
I fully understand. But somebody's
yes,
watching you. Somebody's definitely watching you. So,
yeah,
certainly, again, you don't know what their faces are. You don't know what their names are, but just
yeah.
continue to keep doing what you're doing, babe.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We are so grateful and thankful that we had Queen Laurie come on here to be a special guest on this podcast. So, ladies, definitely connect with her. Thank you, Queen Laurie. And just one
Thank
last
you, honey.
time, absolutely, one last time, let them know where they can connect with you.
Absolutely. On LorieWoodruff.com. LorieWoodruff.com. I'll see you guys soon.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Laurie. And my queens, I love you. And I will talk to you all in the next podcast. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.